Kia ora e te whānau and welcome to Shaw Vineyard's Kai Kororo and Karakia. It's the way we're doing services during this lockdown. And we're hoping, of course, that this week we'll go into level 3 and then slowly be able to get back together as a church. But for today, welcome to our service. Whether you're from our church or whether you're from the wider community or even around Aotearoa or around the world, we welcome you here today. My name is Fran Francis, and it's my great pleasure to pastor here at Shaw Vineyard from a distance. So you're in my lounge, and I'm looking forward to being able to host you and take you through the service today. If you're wanting to know anything about Shaw Vineyard or who and what we are, the best way to do that is by emailing us at shaw@svc.org.nz. You can also look at our website, svc.org.nz, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. So if you're looking for children's material or youth material or company or food or any of the various things that we do, all of those avenues, but at a pinch, go to shaw@svc.org.nz and we will get back to you pretty quickly after that. Well, today I'm excited about at least two things that we're going to be doing in our service. Firstly, we are going to have a little lesson in te reo. So many of you will know, if you're New Zealanders watching this, that this week in Aotearoa it is Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, and that's Māori Language Week, and we've been learning through our media and various places how to pronounce, how to understand and learn that language. And over recent times, somebody from our congregation, Parker Edwards, has been running a course in Te Reo Māori, and I've been delighted to be part of that course. And I asked Parker if he would give us a brief introduction to things like pronunciation, place names, and even some church-type terms. And so I'm going to hand over to Parker, and then we'll move on with the rest of our service. I think you'll enjoy this.
A tēnā rā tātou e te whānau Shaw Vineyard, ko tēnā te mihi tino nui kia koutou katoa. Ko te tumanako e noho haumaru e noho ora ana koutou I o koutou kāinga I tēnei wā, no reira, tēnei te mihi. I tēnei wā, ko te wiki o te reo Māori, no reira, anei tetahi whakaata ki te tautoko I a koutou marunga tō koutou haerenga I te ako I te reo Māori. Kia ora Shaw Vineyard fans. These are my acknowledgements to you all, and the hope is that you're all staying safe and staying well in your homes at this time. It's Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, it's almost finished, but this is just a short video to help you along the way with your journey of Te Reo Māori. So in this video, we're going to cover three things. The first thing we're going to cover is the vowel system, and have a practice of that. The second thing we're going to cover is how to break a kupu Māori down so that you can start to learn to pronounce it properly. And the last thing we're going to cover is some kupu or some words that are related to the church. Nō reira, me tīmata tātou. Ka pai, anei mātou, Shaw Vineyard Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori. So, in English, there are over 20 different ways to pronounce vowels. When you look at the letter A, here's three different examples of how you can pronounce that vowel. Hat, hard, hair. And with the letter O, cone, corn, and con. In Te Reo Māori, there are 5 ways to pronounce vowels. And they look like this. So on the top line, you've got your short vowels, and they don't have a macron on top of them. And on the bottom line, you've got your long vowels, and they have a macron on top of them. A macron can be translated as tohuto or a potai, meaning a hat. It's like there's a hat on the letter. So we're going to go through these, and I'm going to leave a little space for you in between each one for you to give that a go. A, e, I, o, u. Ka pai. And the long vowels, a, e, I, o, u. Ka pai, so the main difference is that the top line, if the vowel doesn't have a pōtai or doesn't have a tohuto, it's short and sweet. It's a very short, quick sound. If it's got a tohuto or a pōtai or a macron on top of the letter, it's elongated, so it sounds longer. A, e, I, o, and u. Ka pai, those are the vowels. Next, breaking kupu down. Whakahorongia ngā kupu. So if you look at the word takapuna, so the best way to break a kupu down, any kupu Māori, any ingoa Māori, is by doing the break straight after the vowel, just like this. Ta, ka, pu, na. Ta, ka, pu, na. Ka pai? And the last thing we're going to cover is some kupu. Ētahi kupu e pāna ki te hāhi, o ki te wharekaraki rāne. So church, we've got a few kupu that you can use for church. Hāhi is the first one. Hāhi. The second one, whare tapu. Whare tapu. And the third one, whare karakia. Whare karakia. Okay, so whare means house and tapu means sacred in this sense, and whare means house and karakia means prayer or incantation. Ka pai. The next couple kupu is prayer. So there's actually a couple words you can use for this. Karakia is more in reference with te ao Māori, but it's okay to use karakia to identify a prayer. And the other kupu that we can use is inoi. Inoi. And there's a really common phrase that gets said whenever people are about to pray, and that is me inoi tātou, let us pray. And the last two kupu is for the kupu hymn. Himene. Himene. Ka pai, you've got the pōtai on the letter I there, so it's a bit elongated. Himene. And the last one is waiata. You can call a hymn a waiata. Kei a koe te tikanga, it's totally up to you. Ai, ko tērā tātou. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. If you guys are looking for a bit more than that, check out Te Ara Māori. It's the course that I'm facilitating for Beginners Plus. And you can contact us through tearamaori@gmail.com. Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa anō, kia pai tō koutou noho, mā te wā.
Well, thank you for that lesson, Parker, and how important it is for us as New Zealanders to begin and to grow in our understanding of te reo. And Parker is such a wonderful and gentle influence within our church towards that end. And so we honour you today, Parker, and we thank you for contributing in that way. We're going to, in some ways, continue the theme, because we're going to sing a worship song now in te reo that we call Tuhia. And it's the great opportunity for us to draw close to God, both in English and in Māori. And so Tim Wood, our associate pastor, is going to lead us now in Tuhia.
Ki te nako tangata katoa tuia ki te rangi tuia ki te whenua tuia ki te nako o ngā tangata katoa. There is but one love, and it is your love. Ko te mea nui, ko te aroha, tuia ki te rangi, tuia ki te whenua, tuia ki te nako, o ngā tangata katoa. There is but one love, and it is your love. Ko te mea nui, ko te aroha. There is but one love, and it is your love. Ko te mea nui, ko te aroha. There is but one love, and it is your love. Ko te mea nui, ko te aroha, ko te aroha, ko te aroha. E kororia, e kororia, kia koe. 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 Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me.
Well, thank you for that, Tim. And much as we look forward to being able to worship together, isn't it great to be able to sing a familiar song from within our bubbles and to know that people all around the North Shore and beyond are worshipping together with a song like Tuhia. Today, I'm looking forward to the content that we bring. At the moment, we're doing a series we're calling Why God? Pilgrimage When the Wheels Fall Off. And we're looking throughout this term at some of the, I don't know, the gnarlier aspects of faith. And you can see some of the other ones that we've done on our website, svc.org.nz. But I'm excited about today because Tim, who you've just met leading worship, is going to be interviewing my wife, Fran, who's been a pastor for some decades and is also a spiritual director of long standing and has got to work with and learn about and observe faith in transition and how difficult some of those transitions are, and yet how hopeful they can be in terms of God growing us all over again. So she's a bit of an expert, and I'm very proud of that. And I think you're going to enjoy hearing Tim and Fran chat about some of these very important things. God bless you.
Well, kia ora, Fran. It's lovely to see you today. How are you doing over there in Birkenhead, Beach Haven, Birkdale area?
The three Bs. Well, let's just say the social cluster has not burst in through my door, so that's good news. Yeah. And lovely to see you too in this Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori. And ke te pēhea koe.
Ke te pai, ke te pai. Oh, that's good.
Pai. Yeah.
It's lovely to hear that, Fran. Well, thank you for joining me today in this kororo around, I guess, faith journeys. And this year we've been talking about pilgrimage, which is this idea of this long journey of faith, that there's ups and downs and in and outs. And it's a real adventure as we try and follow God and follow Jesus and what that means. This term we've been talking about pilgrimage when the wheels fall off, right? What does that phrase, when the wheels fall off, mean to you? And why do you think it's important we've been talking about it this term?
I think it's quite a frightening thing to talk about when the wheels fall off. And yet what I think I've come to know just over the years and also over my through working as a spiritual director is that somehow it seems that when the wheels fall off, those moments in some way are a catalyst, or they can be a catalyst to growth and the development of our faith. So somehow they sit in the whole kind of scheme of things as something that can be fruitful. So I'm not saying that God brings these things and inflicts them on us in order to make us grow, but that these wheels falling off moments can be catalysts to growth when we navigate them with God. So what do we mean by when the wheels fall off? They're moments in life. It might be immigration can be a moment of the wheels falling off, finding yourself in a new land, but not defined by any of the old relationships and the existing frameworks, can be a crisis. There are the normal kind of things of life, such as moving through puberty and adolescence, or coming into our early adulthood, the mountains of midlife, job loss, death, abuse, grief. Many things are moments where actually in terms of our faith, it feels like the wheels have fallen off. And often what happens in those moments is we wonder where God is, and perhaps even, and I think this is probably true for many of us, we can look back at a time in our faith where everything seemed easy. You know, we prayed and God answered, and it was just sweet. And then we kind of realized, oh, that doesn't happen anymore. That's not my experience of prayer and faith now. And so this is an indication of a bit of a faith transition as well, that we're not in that early faith phase anymore.
And what you were saying, it sounds quite a lot. It's a lot of it's our expectations and the reality and the difference, and when there's a certain dissonance. How do people typically respond when the dissonance starts to grow? Well,
I guess people may shut down a little bit. The sense that, oh, well, if what I thought was true of God isn't true, then what does faith even mean? So we might see people begin to move away from church, their spiritual practices drop away, the sense of disillusionment, I guess. But what I guess I'd be saying is we can ask questions of God and of ourselves in these moments that help us connect more with what it is that's going on, to have language for it. It's like the scriptures are full of metaphor around the desert or the pit, the darkness. Those kinds of phrases and images give us permission to be where we are. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the desert and wrestling with the angel of the Lord. It's like, actually, are we up for the wrestle? And to be a community of people who welcome and support and aid the one who's in the wrestling phase. I think that would be a marvelous thing. But instead, what seems to happen is people fear being judged and they're a bit scared that what they're wondering about won't be welcome. And so, you know, exit stage left.
I love the idea of the wrestle. If I can interrupt you just for a moment, Tim and Fran. But it saddens me to think of exiting stage left. And so Tim and Fran continue to talk through this idea. And then Fran introduces a terrific picture of what some of these stages and wrestling and different types of faith can be like. And so I'll hand it over to her again now.
So a wonderful example of that is from the New Zealand pastor and theologian Alan Jameson, and he talks about the life cycle of the monarch butterfly, and that actually the DNA of that creature remains the same right the way through. But you've got quite different iterations of this same being. And I think this is a wonderful gift to us to think, oh, it's okay to be the little egg. And it's okay to be the pupa, and it's okay to be the caterpillar and eat everything in sight because I'm in the hungry phase. And then it's okay to have my meltdown and go into the darkness and be in my chrysalis, and even my face falls off while I'm in this period of transformation and transition that I don't know what's happening. And then I'm allowed to emerge from that and just let my wings dry off. And then I'm allowed to fly in that new phase. I'm still the same creature. The writer Walter Brueggemann did some really lovely work around this, centered in the Psalms, and he talked about settled orientation, painful disorientation, surprising new orientation, and that we can go cycle through these over and over. But the thing is to know, oh, I'm in the painful disorientation. It's very unsettling, but hang in there until I come out into the surprising new orientation, which can sometimes mean becoming somebody that you once upon a time you would have looked at and said, oh, I'm never going to be that. So it can be very surprising to us. Another wonderful writer, thinker, and woman of faith, Brigitte Haere, she talks about moving from certainty via searching to intimacy. So via searching, we're allowed to kind of reach out, inquire, to be a seeker and find our way to intimacy with God over and over in a deepened way throughout the course of our life. So I guess the big thing is recognizing that it's a dynamic relationship. It's not always going to look like this, and to be okay with when our cage gets a bit rattled. Yeah. And to see God is in that.
Which can be tough, right? Because we become so attached to the comfort of what we know how to do or the patterns we're familiar with. I really love the idea that it's not linear, but it's ongoing, right? So there are seasons where we're a caterpillar and we're nurturing, we're hungry for more information, or maybe podcasting or reading a lot of books or going to Bible college. And then there may be the next season, which is a time of rest, like in the chrysalis, just peaceful. And then it moves into us being a butterfly of action and doing and moving. But that leads again back to a time where we need to regroup and learn and then come to rest again. For me, or for people listening to this, how does this idea of this continuous journey of faith, how does that relate to us listening? What would you love for us to know where we're at right now in this?
I guess the invitation in a way is to recognize where you are. Where am I? Am I in a little beginning egg phase with lots of potential ahead of me, but I don't even really know how to name it? Am I in this hunger phase for knowing and absorbing and taking more and more in, almost in a greedy way, in a sense almost that I would look at others and think, well, how can you not be hungry for this? But recognizing, oh, I'm a caterpillar right now, and this is what I've got to do to grow. And then permission to recognize that if I am in the chrysalis, it might be a time of deep rest. It might actually be a time of confusion and darkness, but that it's okay to be where you are, and that you're loved where you are, and that this isn't the end. It's a process. Something is going on. And so the big thing is just to find somewhere to hang, and that nobody's going to come and try and open you with a pin. We'll just let you be, but feel free to talk to us so we can just protect your chrysalis. And then, you know, if you're in that butterfly phase, a time of beauty and energy and movement, or even just wonder, you know, just sitting there flexing the wings and going, I can't believe that I made it here. That's absolutely okay, just to be where we are, and to develop an appreciation and the kind eyes for those who are in the other phases, because they're all part of us.
Yeah. How do we as a community take this idea of pilgrimage and take this idea of journey and these stages of faith? How do we take them seriously and implement them in a healthy way as a community? Can it be done?
Well, look, the church has survived 2,000 years. We've been on pilgrimage together with God since forever, you know, reaching back into our Judeo-Christian roots. So I think it's putting one foot in front of another. Our opportunity to recognize that it doesn't necessarily help to give people advice, but that listening is transformative. This is how you're feeling? Wow, okay. Let me listen to you, you know, and that we can be safe with one another to be able to say, this is what it's like for me at the moment, but to not feel that we have to fix the person. And maybe just be with them instead. The idea that, you know, in order to have our crisis or our deconstruction, we have to leave, to me is saddening. And I would love for Shore Vineyard to be a place where we know that actually some of those people hanging around in the chapel, they're probably in their chrysalis phase. Isn't that great? They've got somewhere to quietly be, and that we've got room to grow.
Again, this term we've talked about the series being called When the Wheels Fall Off. What's pilgrimage when things go unexpectedly? For some of us, that might be quite like a light way of saying it, when actually we feel like the car we've been driving in's flipped over completely, or maybe if we've been in a boat, it's become completely shipwrecked, and we're like, what's going on? Like, what do if I'm sitting here or someone listening to this feels like we're more shipwrecked or the car's totaled, what do we do?
What a great question. And two terrific images in there, you know, one that sort of the wreck of the car, and the other the wreck of the ship. If I can say something about the car, again going back to Alan Jameson, he wrote a wonderful article, and I'll provide a link for this, called Off-Road Faith. And so we find perhaps that our little front wheel drive, you know, 4-speed max 5-speed gearbox is not up for the terrain that we now find ourselves in. And we actually have to get out of that car and find a vehicle that can do that part of the journey, that can take us off road. And there are vehicles for that. So the sense that you might have to sort of salute the vehicle that's brought you this far and go, well, you've crashed and burned. I need something that has a snorkel and really fat tires and all of the bells and whistles, a different, more rugged vehicle for this terrain, and to know that God is with you and for you in that. So off-road faith just takes us off the smooth roads that of the suburbs, and it takes us into much gnarlier terrain, and it asks more of us, and it also requires a different vehicle. So I think that metaphor and that article by Alan Jameson could be quite helpful. The other thing then about the shipwreck, the thing that with a ship is that it has carried us safely this far, and then suddenly, it's holed, it's filling with water, it's falling apart around us, and it doesn't feel like the safe thing anymore. And so we're sort of left with the pieces, and that's the space in which to kind of look around at those pieces and to say, which of these can carry me forward? It might just be a plank, and that's what you've got for now. But this idea of the thing that's carried us safely and then somehow let us down, that requires real work and courage, and may even mean finding someone, a spiritual director, somebody who can listen with you into that experience and help you build a raft. What's left, but it'll be your raft, and it'll be great because it's come from the pieces that God has provided. The other bits don't matter. Something like that, that out of the wreckage there are things to carry us forward. So I don't want to sound Pollyanna-ish about this kind of thing, because some terrible things happen in churches. Some terrible things happen to us at the hands of people who should know better. And so I'm not suggesting that this is an easy or bright thing to do, but that it is possible, and that if you have been shipwrecked, then look around where you are and see who else is on that beach with you, see where God is, see if there's something to cling on to and grab it, and then see what happens after that.
I love those images, Fran. It's like, as you were speaking, I remembered our church's mission statement, I think, is something that for me has been one of the planks that's left over. I don't know what else is going on or where the rest of the ship is, but I think love God and love others is a good plank to cling on to, right? And I love the image of finding other people who have planks around as well. Like something practical that a few years ago I did was me and two of my close mates who felt real similar about things. We ended up getting coffee every Tuesday morning, and I guess strapping our planks together for a makeshift life raft. I think those are really powerful metaphors, and hopefully are encouraging for people to find others to, I guess, put their planks together with. It's beautiful.
Yes, and I think those metaphors respect the hardship. Nobody is suggesting that a shipwreck is an easy thing, but when you find another survivor and how helpful that is, I think that our metaphors are really important, and they give life, and we actually live them. They're not just things we say. So your experience of finding your plank and the people to raft up with, absolutely. So good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, Tom Hanks did well, and he had a volleyball in Castaway, so that was
there's a great spiritual exercise there, is to watch that film, to watch Castaway as a spiritual practice. What do you notice? What can I learn? What touches me? If I feel shipwrecked, that is a really great film to allow it to speak to you.
Oh, some homework for tonight then, eh? That's cool. Well, thank you, Fran. You've given a lot of wisdom to us today, and I guess a lot of practical things to think about where we're at in terms of our um, our journey and where we're at on this cycle of caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly. And I just want to thank you for sharing with us, and know that it will help all of us listening today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, noho ho maru. Stay safe, and hope to catch you in person soon.
Very soon, I hope.
Well, thank you, Fran and Tim, for sharing your wisdom and experience over the years. And I'm sure we can apply them into our own lives, each and every one of us who's been able to listen today. I just want to mention before we come towards our close that this week on Wednesday night, for those who love to pray and those who would love to receive some prayer, we're going to be gathering on Zoom for prayer. So on our Facebook Wharanui page, we will be posting a Zoom link, and we would love you to join us at 7:30 on Wednesday night. We will be back here again next Sunday. We do trust that you'll join us. We should be in level 3 in Auckland, but we still won't be able to meet, so we'll be asking why God still here online. So I do hope you'll join us for that. Ka kite anō, God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.